I'd like to interview one of my clients, Zack. Hi, Zack.
Hello.
And I want to talk a little bit more about this idea of how lack of purpose or dharma, or what I consider joy, the disconnection from all of that, ends up becoming eventually a physical issue. And I think you are a really good example of how that happened. So do you want to tell people what it looked like for you? I mean, we didn't know that's what it was in the beginning, but why did you start coming to me? I don't think you were very happy about coming to me, but you did. So tell us more about that.
No, yeah. When I started with you, I definitely wasn't really expecting anything to happen. It was kind of like, part of it was just like it was a last resort. I didn't know what else to do. And the other part was just to kind of get my mom off my back, because I didn't think that it was possible to do anything about my issues.
And what were your issues, so that people understand what we're talking about?
So starting from probably like 7th or 8th grade, so like middle school, I was definitely dealing with a lot of like anxiety and depression, and a lot of other like physical symptoms. Like even remembering that far back, like I always had like lower back pain, joint pain in general. My shoulders and neck would always bother me too, which is weird for like a young kid to be having like symptoms that you would assume an older person would have. But then, yeah, by the time I saw you, I mean, I was drinking every day. I had issues with alcohol, and the same thing, like the pain never went away. And I was just unhappy in general.
How much were you drinking every day?
Generally around like a 30 pack of beer every day. I would start when I woke up and drink until I like went to bed. Yeah, it was just constant, basically.
And what other things had you tried before yoga therapy? You said it was the last resort. What do you mean by that?
I'm still working on it, but I was never someone that really believed in homeopathy or any of the more spiritual ways to kind of deal with issues. I was a very like science and fact-based person, so obviously I tried like general psychiatry. I tried all the antidepressants, the anti-anxiety meds, the talk therapy, the psychoanalysis, all that kind of stuff that kind of has more of a scientific background. And I was always one to kind of push off spirituality and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of why it was a last resort for me. I didn't really believe that it was something that could actually work. I thought it was kind of just a bunch of mumbo jumbo, honestly.
I get it. I understand. I think there's a lot of people out there that think it's, you use mumbo jumbo, I use woo-hooery.
Witchcraft, whatever else.
Exactly. So, okay. So you come to see me, and the caveat here is that I don't deal in alcoholism. I'm not experienced in alcoholism, but in yoga therapy and coaching I am. And we believe that anything happening is a symptom. Like there's a root cause. The root cause is not alcoholism. So when you came to me, the caveat of us working together was that we weren't dealing with the alcoholism. We were dealing with that, where we were looking at that as a symptom and trying to see what else was going on that might be causing the alcoholism. Correct? I want to make sure that we were clear on that, and that you were still, I think were you seeing a therapist, or you had done rehab and were working through that, right?
Yeah, I had I'm trying to remember. I had gotten out of rehab probably, I want to say like maybe 6 months before I started seeing you, and I had already started drinking again. And I was seeing a therapist even more recently than that. But I think by the time I had actually started coming to you, I had kind of given up on all of that stuff. I was basically just drinking and going to work and doing nothing else.
Okay. And and so when we started working together, I do remember me saying to you, like, what if this wasn't the case? Like, what if you had something to look forward to? And you sort of humored me, for lack of a better term. But I will say you showed up.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing.
So you showed up and we met every week.
Yeah.
Fast forward, so it's been about a year and a half, right? It's been 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah, just about.
We don't see each other every week now, but we did in the beginning. And how are things differently? And then we can talk about why maybe they are.
I mean, things are a lot different. I mean, I've been sober for a little more than 2 years now. I'm back in school working towards getting a degree. I'm just overall happier. I've started working out. I've started eating better. It's just like a complete 180 basically.
And so I know in my words what that would be, but Zach, in your words, why do you think that's the case?
It's such a big question, but I think the biggest thing is actually having some motivation, like having something that I'm trying to reach for, like having goals in general. Actually believing that I can achieve something.
Well, I think that it was it for you.
Yeah.
You can't have goals or you can't have what I would consider purpose if you don't believe you have that. And I think when you
Yeah.
came to me, you didn't believe, or maybe more importantly, you were afraid to believe.
Yeah, I think so. When I first started seeing you, I didn't think that my life could be anything more. I thought that I was I mean, I really thought I was going to die pretty early, having just been like working at Starbucks and like drinking. I didn't think that there was the possibility for more. I thought I just kind of drew the short straw in the genetic lottery, and that I was kind of just stuck with the symptoms and personality that I had at the time.
We don't believe that now, do we?
No, no, definitely not.
What do
Um,
we believe now?
I, I don't want to say that I believe that I can do anything, but I definitely have a lot more faith in myself, and I think I can at least be happy, which I think it doesn't sound that crazy, but for me, it's like the biggest change. To actually just believe that I could wake up every day and not hate everything is huge.
Yeah, it's huge to hear because you didn't have that when we first started.
No, not even close.
So I always believed that it was trying to getting you connected again and getting
Yeah,
you to believe that you were worthy of happiness or worthy of joy. And it was getting you to connect to that again, which would give you hope, which would then maybe um, help you to start making better decisions, everyday decisions.
yeah.
How would you put it in your words that's what happened? I mean, would you use those words?
Maybe not exactly, but definitely something very similar. I still think I have a hard time with like joy. I'm not 100% sure that I know what like joy feels like. Um, but I think just happiness in general, or even just finding like, or at least when we first started, just finding like that one moment during the day that wasn't completely terrible. So like when we started, just being able to like get into a certain yoga pose or something small like that, just kind of started paving the way for bigger things. Being able to get like some sort of enjoyment or even just a feeling of accomplishment out of the little things, I think eventually added up into being able to see myself getting more and more of that back. Um, Yeah, I think that's how I would put it.
Um, it was close for you. I mean, I remember before you started working with me, you had been in a pretty severe car accident.
Yeah. It was one of those things too where I didn't realize how bad it was until after. I think when it happened, I mean, in that moment, I didn't really care, like, whether I lived or I died or about any of the consequences, really. Everything was already so bad that adding, like, a little bit extra didn't seem any worse. But then after working with you for a while, like, being able to look back on that moment, it was really close, and I'm very lucky that nothing serious happened to me. I mean, besides being physically injured, there's also like hurting my family, potentially winding up in jail. Like there's a lot of things that could have gone wrong that didn't, that definitely allowed me to get to where I am now.
So let me ask you this last question. A lot of the work that I do, I believe the reason we become disconnected is this idea that we've created due to experiences or trauma or whatever we're growing up. We start to take in this information and create patterns and habits and beliefs around, the way life has been, right?
Yeah.
And then those beliefs or patterns or habits help us till they don't, right?
Hmm.
And then that's where this disconnection starts to happen. And so do you think, looking back, when we started working together, I know you didn't believe in this concept, and we worked slowly but surely on it. So do you think that there were beliefs that changed, and if so, can you even name one or two that maybe kind of changed as a result of doing this work?
Growing up, especially, you definitely take in a lot of information, whether it's from teachers or parents, that I don't think you really realize how much it shapes you as a person. And when I was growing up, I did a lot of things because, or just because that's what was expected of me. I played sports for the longest time, even though I never really liked them. I never really like connected with school either, but I was good at it. I was constantly told I was good at it. So when I finally was able to kind of start making decisions for myself, I I didn't really know what to do with all of those options. It was just too much. And since growing up, I didn't really like any of the things that I was doing. Um, I think that kind of translated into just not having any sort of purpose or goals or sense of achievement because I hadn't had that in the past. And when it was up to me to make those decisions for myself, it didn't seem possible because I was always kind of just told what I was supposed to be doing and how I was supposed to be doing it. Um, so I just for a long time felt like just empty and like I didn't have a purpose and like I was just checking boxes, just going through the motions.
Mhm.
Um, and that's definitely changed a lot for me. I feel a lot more in control of my life now. I'm not as scared of having a lot of options. Even though I still get the anxiety around making decisions, it's definitely become a lot easier for me. And I'm usually happy with the choices that I make versus feeling like I'm being dragged along, just kind of like a ship stuck out at sea. Um, I think that's the biggest belief that's changed for me. But the other one I think is the belief that I didn't know what was best for me, or I wasn't worth it to be able to like do the things that I wanted to do. Like those things didn't matter necessarily growing up, but I've learned to put myself first more and be able to make the decisions that I think are the best for me and that I'll get the most enjoyment out of. Yeah.
It's a lot. You've done a lot of work in the last 2 years, and I really appreciate you sharing it in a vulnerable way. You know, not everybody knows you, so not everybody knows how huge speaking about this is. So I think you are connected more to joy than you realize. And I hope that you notice the joy that you bring other people, including me. So
Thank you.